scooter is a very, very simple method of getting about. If you start to localize your life, you will find that there's a much more sustainable way of living open to you. A scooter is something ridiculously simple, just two wheels, a back brake, and the big plus of it is that it can be taken on a bus or a train quite easily. It folds down very quickly and simply. All you do is open up there, press the button, push down, lock off. Another release mechanism there. Press the two buttons on the side, lock off. You can then carry it. The only disadvantage with it, as against a bicycle, you don't want to be going down or up very steep hills. But in gentle hills, it means that you can go about twice or three times the speed of walking, therefore it cuts time down quite a bit. It's very simple to use, it can be carried very easily, put it over your shoulder or carry it in one hand. The big plus is that it can be taken very easily on bus or train. Folding bikes are great, I've had them in the past, but on seriously busy buses or trains, they're a bit of a nuisance. This, on the other hand, you can put it on your lap. It's no problem to yourself or to anybody else. There are, of course, other types of scooters, bigger and heavier, which are available. There's electric assist ones, which are not legal on the roads at the moment. Obviously, legislation needs to catch up with technology a bit. But this one is a very simple device. All you've got is a little lever there which unlocks the system and relocks it like that. A little button there and on this side that you can't see. You press those in and it folds out. At this end you've got the same type of release mechanism there. Simple button on there and those come out and go back. That relocks it, easily to carry. If you're on a busy bus or train, you can actually put it on your knee and it's not a problem. Or you can put it upright like that and it's no problem at all. Sustainability is a strange thing. It's crucial because of climate change issues. The carbon dioxide we use should be minimised. Sometimes we have to look at things with the long-term view in mind. And whilst too much concrete is bad news in the very short term, it is, if it's used in such a way that it can be constantly reused, there's no reason at all why you shouldn't be carrying on using concrete in that way. These concrete blocks will last hundreds or even thousands of years as long as they're not stuck together with mortar. It is as simple as that. What you're looking at now is a couple of little dwarf walls which I've built with concrete blocks. Now, a lot of people will say, and quite rightly, concrete blocks are not very good as far as sustainability is concerned. One of the biggest disadvantages is that they contain a fair bit of cement. Now, cement is a very carbon intensive industry, so we keep the amount down to an absolute minimum. What I've got here is a little entrance to my new greenhouse, which will be covered over, the central area will be covered over with gravel shortly. But the concrete blocks are not mortared together at all. The base layer of blocks is laid straight onto compacted soil. You just check that the base layer is nice and firm and level, put the block straight onto it, and the huge advantage of that is that concrete blocks as long as they're not mortared together, will last almost indefinitely. And that's what you're looking at now. It can be used, these can be used again and again and again. You've just seen how I use the concrete blocks on the outside, and they can last with that method for 1,000 years. As I've mentioned before, we're on a sloping site. We are now inside the new greenhouse, and I have steps which, made in the same method, should put gravel in between there, build up the steps in this way, and that will go right up to the top of the greenhouse. All the carbon which is in this piece of wood here is now going to be taken out and kept out of the environment, out of the atmosphere, for as long as this building lasts. The way it's constructed, there's no reason why this building shouldn't last for a couple of 100 years, maybe even more than that. I'll show you further details of it later. But one of the reasons that we are in this shop is because I've got the water storage inside the building. This water barrel here is inside the building for a very good reason. How often do you put a baby into cold water? You don't. The baby needs to have water at near enough room temperature. So why not plants? Young plants don't like very cold water. So if you keep your water barrel outside the building, in the early spring and late winter, you are then going to end up putting cold water onto your babies. So what I do is I put the main water storage inside the building, and then the warmth in the water in the building is going to be the same as the warmth on the top of the soil. That will not shock those poor little baby plants. So here I am on the other side. I'm standing in the doorway of the new building now. This barrel is fed from the guttering, which goes all the way along the bottom. The warmth of the water in here won't harm the plants. And because I've elevated up much higher than I would normally do, or most people do, the tap at the bottom is sufficiently high that I can put a hose onto here, and I can water the plants with a small hose, which is far quicker than using just cans. Cans are great to save the water, but if I can use it direct with a small hose pipe over the whole of this area, much better, much quicker, and it saves water by, again, directing water directly onto each plant. I've just been asked by the gentleman who operates the camera how I prepare for these videos. Well, it's time to admit something. I have a weakness. That weakness is a cup of good, strong, quality coffee every day. I go down to my local cafe, which is about a 25-minute walk, or a little bit less than that if I use my scooter. When I'm in there, I jot down a few notes on a bit of old scrap paper, usually the inside of reused cereal boxes, which make wonderful card for making notes on. I then make a few notes, read through them a few times, and then sleep on it, read through them again the next day, make a few extra notes, cross out here and there, and then I'm ready to go when the gentleman who operates the camera for me is waiting and waiting and saying, "Come on Peter, get a move on, here we go."